There was just a brand new fusion launched. By now you've heard of it, you know about the kit, but there's some pretty interesting things that could be massive for the direction of fusions overall for Raid. And there's a lot to talk about. It's exciting. We're gonna have to see what happens in the end here. I'm hopeful because if you've been playing for a long time, you're gonna know exactly what I'm talking about with the pattern that we've seen over the last, I don't know, even 3-4 fusions, but even if you've been going back as far as a year, you will know exactly what I'm talking about. So let's dive straight into it. What up team, it is MurderInc. We are talking about the direction of fusions, specifically fusions released with partner bonuses. There's going to be a partner bonus, that's what we're talking about here. Of course, Jetni the Giant, like I said, you should know about the fusion, legendary based spirit attacker, damage dealer, right? This is just the basic, I don't want to say basic damage dealer, kind of reminds you of Gembo a little bit, increased crit rate, crit damage, but the main thing to focus here is there is a legendary partner, Alsgor Crimsonhorn, and this is really important because you have to think about, let's kind of break it down simply first. What's the purpose of partner bonuses in this game? Legendaries have a very low chance of dropping. Events like fusions can help us all get legendaries much easier than just pulling up for shards. We have an ever increasing legendary count, so our odds go down every time they add new champions, making it harder and harder. So, back when the game first came out, when you had a partner bonus, it was like, okay, you could, I guess, whale, and your odds of getting that partner weren't too bad, especially in a 10x event. Nowadays, it's not quite the case, and it's just becoming more and more unrealistic for the average player. So, if Plarium is going to continue capitalizing on the cool synergies between partner bonuses, and this is the key here, they have to factor in, and we've seen this on every partner champion so far, they're factoring in the power level of the champion based on the passive that they're gaining from having a partner bonus, right? Because if they don't, they already learned that lesson from Sifi and Rotos. Now some can argue that Terrace and Marichka completely busted. Listen, they're both Void champions. There was no way to get them outside of 2x or 10x events, so they were there to make money. The champions are very strong. They're making tons of money off of it. That's something that I don't think will ever go away. But as far as the majority of the player base, when you have it specifically fusion based, let's take the first example being Oella, the Oella Fusion here. So we got the Oella Fusion, and Oella had a partner bonus with Ultin of the Shell. So what did they do? They had an event, and I think this was kind of them testing the water to see how much money they could make. Probably more if the champion was better, but they tied gaining Ultin of the Shell to winning an event, right? So if you went for that, you could get this partner bonus no problem. I think that's very smart. Now they've done this before, the question is what went wrong? If you've been playing for a while, you know about a champion called Astralon. He was a fusion, really good kit, once again had a partner bonus with a champion called Countess Lix. It was a very small partner bonus, but it was still very effective. Now what did they do? I think they did the smartest thing they could have done. The fusion was Astralon, the guaranteed legendary from Ancient Shards after, what was it, 110? However many it was less than it would take to pull a normal legendary. You got Countess Lix. This was brilliant. No one complained about this. It's the perfect way to let the average player get a partner bonus, one being a fusion, one being a guaranteed. This is a pattern we should see on repeat. My opinion only, of course. If you disagree, let me know why in the comments you would disagree with that. The biggest thing I can think of is Plarium being Plarium and not releasing a good partner bonus. Then they can get away with giving us an underwhelming champion, but I hate to think pessimistically like that, even though it could be the reality for sure. Look at Oella and Ultin. Their synergy doesn't really make sense, but Astralon and Countess Lix, both fantastic champions, when paired together, even stronger. So if you ask me, this should be baseline forever. If you have a fusion with a partner bonus, the next guaranteed event should let players get that partner. No questions asked. What does this do? It gives players who are free to play a more concise plan when preparing for the future. They know, okay, the next guaranteed is going to be the partner here. Is it going to be worth it? If yes, they start saving the shards they would need to get that right away. So this gives them a plan for the long term. If they have to skip fusions to do so, it's not going to come up and sneak up on them as a surprise at all. So I think this is a really good direction. Like I said, will they make as much money if they do this? Probably not. However, the viability of keeping partner bonuses realistic in this game is getting smaller and smaller unless they start doing 20x or 30x events, or moving it up to 3x chance during these special event weekends that we do have. So with that being said, with all the data we have to figure out, they tested it with Astralon and Countess Lix, something went wrong they didn't like, or they just forgot about it. I don't really know. It was kind of a long time ago. Moving forward, now we see them release Oella's Fusion, and for the first time in quite a long time, the partner was available outside of just a 10x event. So they probably gathered data from that, and like I said, Ultim was rather underwhelming, but it does give us hope that, and they're still playing with the possibilities for this new Fusion Jetni the Giant. How are we going to get Alsgor Crimsonhorn? It's likely that we are going to get some type of way to get this champion based on the last partner duo that was part of a fusion that we saw in this game here. The question is going to be, what are they going to do? Plarium, if you're watching this, it's time. It's time. Release Alsgor as the next guaranteed legendary champion. I don't care if he's void. I don't care if he's not void. Whatever he is, make it happen. And I mean, don't do it right away, of course. People have to save up shards, but it's going to be a step in the right direction for you as a company, making it realistic. No one wants to get a champion that is very strong with a partner bonus and say, I can't justify getting this champion because what if I never pull the second champion here? That is a very negative way for players to approach your game, and it's kind of what you're forcing them into, because think about Ultim. What if Oella and Ultim, that duo, was insanely strong? Now you're going to have players wailing over getting this champion from these tournaments, and the players that are going to win these tournaments are ones who would have spent thousands of dollars on the shards anyways to pull it. So it's a double-edged sword here, if you understand what I mean. But despite the shortcomings of that Oella Fusion with Ultim, there is a breath of fresh air and I guess a new hope, you can say, for Jetni the Giant, since she was released with a partner bonus, and only time is going to tell. I'm curious about your feedback. Let me know what you think. If you had to give your best guess, how is Plarium going to initiate this second test phase of what are players going to respond to, react to monetarily, and positive or negative wise for getting this partner bonus champion? Because unlike Oella, even though we don't know the specifics of Alsgor Crimsonhorn's kit yet, what the fusion gets is in the right direction. This debuff cannot be resisted if Alsgor's in the same team for the A2, making it a 100% chance of applying that defense down once booked, of course. Then we have an A3 that grants an extra turn if this attack kills an enemy. Moving on to the passive, will ignore shield buffs if Alsgor is on the same team as well. So this champion's getting 3 bonuses, 2 to skills, 1 to a passive, for having the partner on the same team, and the partner's kit is still to be determined. So as it is, it's a pretty decent power level spike to this champion, which is needed because in the end, this is just a nuking champion. A nuking champion in a arena meta that revolves around polymorphs, so it's not that good for arena. I don't care if this champion hits the hardest ever. She's no Trunda. She will never be a Trunda. She's no Baron. She will never be a Baron because of the debuffs. Huge downside because of polymorph. Maybe it's nerfed down the line, who knows. But there's a wave clear angle here for sure. Doom Tower, this will come in handy, especially if you can get some synergy with ignoring shield buffs, because there are quite a few waves that are pretty tricky in the Doom Tower where there are shields on the champions and the waves you are fighting against. On top of that, with the A3 ability, increased crit rate, increased crit damage, very strong. One thing that kind of missed on, and I probably should have mentioned this when I was talking about the partner bonuses and how strong they were, The partner bonus on Towering Might, her A3 ability, is slightly counterintuitive to a point because ideally you would want increased crit rate and increased crit damage to be a 3-turn duration, because you're getting an extra turn if you get a kill with the partner bonus, right? So it's not a huge deal, because if you can A3 and A2 back to back, as long as you running 70% crit rate, taking into account this crit rate buff, you should be fine. But if something happens where your A2 is not up in time, you don't have the champion fully booked, you're booking it out of order so the cooldowns don't align, you don't want to only have the 100% crit chance on the A1, and then once you get to the A2 ability, your increased crit rate and crit damage just aren't on anymore, right? So it's obvious when they made this partner bonus, they're just assuming you're fully booking this champion. I mean, I guess that's okay, but still, that's the one criticism I would have briefly on looking at the kit. Of course, she's going to be tested on the test server, which is live now. So I kind of covered everything I wanted to on this video here. Brief talk about the champion. Is she worth going for? It's up to you guys. You're going to see a million videos saying this champion's OP, this champion sucks. In the end, whatever's good for your account, only you know. Everyone's account's going to be different. If you need a defense down champion, I don't really know why you would, because eventually everyone gets Lydia. Most people start out with Deacon. You can get Stag Knight. There's tons of other champions that have an AoE defense down here. There is a point to be made. Pythian, Ultimate Death Knight are rather common in the arena, so you can use this, but once again, sheep exists, so if you want to risk having this champion get the sheep, I don't know. It's up to you guys. So that's going to conclude this video. Give me your thoughts and feedback. For sure, curious in your thought process, and Plarium, do the right thing. Make partner bonuses mean something. You do a pretty decent job, not so much lately, but pretty decent job overall with partner bonuses. Roto Sifi, Astralon, Countess Lix, Venus Cupidus. There are a lot of really strong ones. Make it something that's accessible to all players. Just broaden the scope of fusions. Fusions are the most overall player-friendly thing in this entire game. You make tons of money on it, so why not go a step further and guarantee that any fusion with the partner, you can get that fusion partner from a guaranteed, so people at least have the option without RNG. Less RNG is going to be good for the future of this game for sure. As always, guys, if you enjoyed this content, smash the like button, subscribe, turn on the notification bell, and I will see you all in my next upload.